Hi everybody, this is She and Karibu Sana. You're watching Family TV. My name is Lillian. And as always, we talk about issues affecting women. And tonight we are going to be looking at women in farming. I find farming to be a very intriguing venture. I wonder sometimes, and I know many of us do, is there money really in farming? And so that is what the ladies on the table will be telling us about. They'll be sharing their journey with us. To my immediate left, I've got Lillian Wairimo. She deals with horticultural crops. And listen to this, snow peas. Do you know what that is? We're about to find out. Snow peas, sugar snap, runner beans, and garden peas for export. Karibu Sana.
Thank you, Lillian. I'm excited to be here.
Karibu, and thank you for making time. And to my immediate right, I've got LZ Chebet. What a unique name, LZ Chebet. She's the founder of Organic Kitchen Gardens. They're very active on social media, so you can find them there as well. And she's also an edible landscape expert. She also is an entrepreneur and a trainer. You know, I feel like for you, it spirals into so many other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Karibu. To my distant right, I've got Mary Kiyo. She runs an apiary. Do you know what that is? It's a beekeeping farm. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to knowing more about your journey. I had a brief conversation with you on phone, and it's been 10 years. Yeah, and you're also in media. Karibu Sana.
Thank you.
Right, Mary, I'm going to start with you. Beekeeping, how did you start? What triggered you to start?
I thought about my retirement plan, and I was like, this is time to start thinking about where would I like to be in my old age. I had met a few people, had done a bit of, homework in order to understand what beekeeping is all about, just the basics. And one of the things that I picked up from one of the older people I talked to is that he said, so long as you provide the bees with the right environment, all you have to do is sit back and it will take care of you to your old age. And know how to manage it. And I was like, yeah, I think I need that.
Did it sound easy at the time?
Yes, it did, until I started. And it got crazy, and Can I jump into that right now?
We'll get back to that, because I really want to know what triggered each of us to start.
Okay.
What triggered you to start? Especially, can I mention your age?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, let me say,
Yeah.
Elsie is in her late 20s.
Yeah.
So for you, I doubt it's a retirement thought.
No, it's not a retirement thought. It's a hobby.
Oh, it's a hobby.
I love gardening. I grew up in a home where, like the dad of the home was an agriculturist. So we did a lot of farming. We grew everything in the farm. We picked fresh veggies from the farm. We bought like the least, like this sugar and salt, the things we wouldn't grow in the farm. And I think living in the city and also having lived abroad a little bit, I really appreciate eating healthy and having organic food from your farm. So that is what I wanted to do. So I also did nutrition for my undergrad.
Okay.
And so the first thing was helping people living in the urban setup to kind of eat healthy, grow your own organic foods. And also, so it was also to help people living in the urban setup. So with the current prevalence of lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, so as a nutritionist, you just tell someone to eat healthy. So you need to show them how do you eat healthy. You're telling them to eat vegetables, but then what safe vegetables are there? So if you have a space and you can grow your own organic vegetables, so that's better. So it was more of a hobby. I started with my own kitchen garden.
Wow, so for you it sounds like it's really in your blood, because first of all it's a hobby, then you went into it as a career.
Yes.
So for you it's a whole lifestyle.
It's a whole lifestyle. I really love what I'm doing and I'm passionate about it. Yeah.
Right. It was different from you, namesake. I had to throw that in. Okay, so it was different from you. You were in a different career, and then that career, hit a dead end. So you can just tell us about that.
So I'm married. We are parents of 4, my husband and I. At the time, we only had 2. So we both lost jobs around the same time. In fact, He lost his job first, then 3 months later, I lost my job. And so in a modern setting, you have rent to pay, bills, feeding the children, and so on and so forth. And so whatever savings we had ran out pretty fast, you know. And so in that period, because we are believers, we are Christians, we were in prayer and we were telling God to open opportunities. And honestly, there was no job that was coming across, you know, no opportunity, no interview, no nothing.
What was your career?
So I have my history. I've done Bachelor of Science in Botany and Zoology. So I'm a scientist.
Okay.
So
but still in that agricultural
in the agricultural field.
Okay.
So now, at that particular time, we are praying and we're asking God, what's the next move? As God would have it, we get this proceeding word in our season at the time was the rod in your hand, like Moses was told. And so we're asking each other, so what is this rod? We don't have anything. We've never done a restaurant. We've never done any business. So, you know, you think that it's something you started and you let it cool off. So at that point, we kept wondering. But as we persisted in prayer, I remember one night my hubby was in prayer and he just read a verse and he came and woke me up at 2 a.m. He told me, I have figured it out. Oh, wow. This is what God is saying. And I'm like, okay, what is it? He was reading the promises the children of Israel were given. And the verse was saying, God will bless you in the land that he has given you. And he said, this is it. We have a land. And the land at the time was idle. Nothing was growing. In fact, our neighbors used to herd their cows and their goats there. We actually thought of it as our later in life retirement kind of a project, just like Mary. Then here we are, and he's like, now this is it. We've got to do it. God has promised His bless us in the land that He has given us.
Yes.
So quickly we set out. We went to the farm, started doing research and so on and so forth. That is the beginning of our farming journey. It's been now 14 years.
Wow.
Yes.
And just, you know, what comes to my mind is the Bible is so beautiful because there are verses that can mean anything, you know, depending on where you are in life.
Correct.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
What, Mary, were some teething problems that you had when you were starting, you know? Because the danger of waiting until you get, most of us when we think retirement plan, we think when I get there, this is what I will do. Then when you get there, you invest your money in it and probably you get burnt. So it's good to know that you started your retirement process at 35, right? Is that right?
Yes.
So what were some teething problems that you had?
First thing is that I was still working.
Yes.
And so I had to rely a lot on telephone farming. And that was my greatest problem, because when you are talking to people on the ground and they tell you there's a problem, for instance, you're trying to find out have the hives swarmed, have the bees gotten into the hives, and they're like, no, they haven't. And then when you drive out and check out what the problem is, they say probably we need to try, you know, scenting the hive. And you're like, okay, so who can we get around this area? And you call the person who is supposed to come on board, who's the expert, and then when they come on board, they're not able to come on board when I am available. So I have to still manage a conversation over the phone.
Yes.
So when you're told the person has already scented the hives, you're thinking, all right, it has been scented, you send the money, but you come back again a couple of weeks later, because you don't just check immediately. You come back and you find it's still the same problem. So that was a huge one in terms of managing through the phone farming. And then the second thing was around investing a lot from my pocket. I was not waiting for me to first get the honey, sell, and then invest more into the honey business. And so I burnt my fingers a lot. And of course the workers pick up a lot on that. They're like, when we call her, she'll send the money. So by the time you figure out that you're being played, you've lost quite a lot of money. So that was also a major challenge. And then the third thing was, of course, not knowing the business like I should have. You know, the business is not about honey can make, bees just sit there and they make the honey. There are things that you need to put in place. You need to learn in order to be supportive to your bees, know how to make them happy, because if they're happy, then you get your honey, and then you're able to meet your market needs, you know. So those are the three things I'd point out for now.
I think what stands out for me is the telephone farming. Okay, so LZ, what is the easiest vegetable to grow? if I want to quickly grow something and get it within a month?
I think I would say a salad, like lettuce. So in like 3 weeks, you can start picking the leaves from outside and then it keeps on growing.
Okay.
And it doesn't require much space. Yeah, so I think I would say a salad. And a salad because when you think of organic farming, because you're eating it without cooking it, you want to eat something fresh and organic without pesticides, because you can't wash much pesticides out of a vegetable, really. Yeah.
All right. I'll come back to you. I wanted to know from Lillian, you said that farming is for thick-skinned people.
Yes.
And one statement I picked up is you can even get depression.
Yes.
Could you take us through some of the challenges that you've had to face on your journey of farming?
Truthfully speaking, one, we are young people, and farming has mainly been embraced by the older generation. So you may not have the adequate information, the tools to help you begin. So a lot of times maybe you depend on textbook information that may not really get you where you're supposed to go. A lot of learning is actually on the ground.
Yeah.
You can watch a documentary, you can read a book, my friend, the situation on the ground is different.
Yeah.
But for me, I realized that weather patterns change on us a lot, especially if you're not doing this, like, you know, for plant farmers, if you're not like in a greenhouse or a controlled environment, you are open to whatever weather conditions we are going to face. So for instance, you have planted your crops and maybe you're depending on rain-fed agriculture.
Yes.
Do you know when there is no water, there's no rain for 2-3 months, you're going to suffer your losses?
Yeah, that's true.
Or you have planted well, and then the rains come and they're excessive waterlogging, that crop just zero
Rots.
You know, like the way the crop is floating on too much water. And we've had quite a number of seasons when we've had El Nino in Kenya, and farmers just, you can tell the frustration of the farmers.
Yes.
So some of those things, and you've done everything right. So it's not a matter of I didn't spray on time, I didn't give the crop the food it needed.
You did everything.
Just like you and I, the crop needs food.
Yeah.
So the food is the manure, it is the fertilizers and all the things that you need. So you've done your bit. Then it just rains, and it rains a bit too much.
Yeah.
My friend, you look at the whole thing, you count the money you've spent, you're asking yourself, do I pack and go home? Do I continue
I get
to
you.
build your case again to begin afresh? It needs you to just keep developing a layer upon a layer of thick skin. But when the season is good, it can also be really good.
Okay.
And those are the dynamics that people need to be told about farming.
Yes.
It's not that I put X amount of money and I will get Y amount of returns.
Yes.
Not always the case.
All right, we're going on a short break. When we come back, I'm noticing that all these farmers' nails are very well manicured. So I want to know how they do all that. And then also best and worst moments in their farming career. Please give us your feedback on our WhatsApp line 0786316316. You can also SMS me on 20316. Let me know your thoughts on it, or if you're a farmer yourself, what's your journey been like? And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to subscribe and leave a comment down below. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Tomorrow on This Is My Story. When the world closes its door on you, education becomes a dream.
Mama alikuwa anapika chang'aa, wamewachana na baba. So most of the time I found myself alone, I fend myself.
But the sun still shines.
After kusafa miaka 13 years, still ukirotate pamoja, I was able to buy a plot and build in 1 year's time.
It's a story of how to turn tears into bliss on This Is My Story, tomorrow at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome back. This is She. My name is Lillian, and we are talking to women in farming. Are you a lady out there? Are you in farming? Text me your experience on 20316 or 0786316316. And if you're watching this on YouTube, also remember to subscribe and leave a comment down below. Just before we left, I had promised to ask these ladies, how comes their nails are looking so nice and well manicured? Who will I start with? You're the first one whose nails I noticed. Elsie.
Yeah. you can slay and farm. So especially for us, it's urban farming, and we're trying to tell people it's not a very dirty job. You can wear your gloves and farm. You can look good, feel good about yourself. So you don't have to. It's not a dirty job really, especially in urban setup, because what we do is container gardening, so like raised beds, like a beautiful. So what you're trying to do is change the mindset of you have to farm either in a gunia or something, but then just something really beautiful. So like maybe you can even put it at the front of your home.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. I like the bringing in the landscaping beauty angle to farming. That also encourages a lot of young people to do it. Okay, let me go to Mary. You look very well put together. Do you always look like this, or there are some days when we won't recognize you?
Of course, when I'm wearing the bee suit, you will definitely not recognize me. But I think it's important that even as we carry out our farming, that we don't forget our femininity.
That's true.
It's part of who we are, and we still enjoy looking good when we are away from everything. And even I do get into the farm because I also have to grow crops like beans, because they give very good flowers. Beans are very good in terms of when they are flowering.
Okay.
They are great for the bees. And so for me, you'll find me also in the farm as well. But I do feel that it's always important to maintain this part of me, that when I am done with my farming, then I can enjoy also looking good and enjoy myself.
And now that you mention about femininity, do you think that people bully you a bit more because you're a lady in terms of the workers that you hire or the consultants that you speak with? Do you think they will sort of try to rip you off a bit because you're a lady?
Yes. Initially, and in some cases, and I'll say some of them, it's of course tied to the fact that there are some things I could do when I was a young girl that I can't do now. I have 2 traditional hives, and that means that they are set up quite high on the tree. So of course Mary will not climb up the tree.
Yes.
And that's where I lose it. The rest of the hives that I have, at least I've placed them on a reasonable height where I can reach out to them. So when it comes to that, I mean, they can climb up, and usually they say they'll go at night because the African bee is really aggressive. But now you can imagine when you're climbing up a tree, they prefer going at night. And I remember before now I went to the farm, because now I'm living on the farm. I would have to again get gentlemen to go on site in order to check out the hives and everything. And so I would pay so much to have them go all the way, spend the night, you take care of all those expenses. And then early in the morning, I would be there and they'd tell me, Mama, hakukuwa na asali. Now the thing is, you don't know what happened overnight. Do you buy their word? I could. I mean, that's all I could do. But with time, you start realizing that there are people who could be lying to you. I'm not saying all of them did, but there are possibilities that maybe they used to take some and move it to another area, or even sell before I arrive. And of course, I won't even walk into the spaces where the men stay. They have the men's room. So as a lady, I won't go into those rooms to check out if my honey is hidden somewhere, But those are some of the things that show up. And of course, when it comes to the consultants, especially, when you're asking the questions, because for me, it's not like beekeeping was a career or even a passion from when I was young. I was saying, I want to be a beekeeper, but now is when I'm getting to enjoy it, the more I've been on the farm.
I think that's the thing I sense that farming has made you have to be, bold, and also that you're not doing it with a spouse or a sibling. It's just you, but it's doable.
It is.
Let me go to Lillian. Lillian, you look like a corporate. Have you approached it from a corporate angle, do you think?
I have an element of both, because 1, I've gone to school, 2, I've worked in the corporate world, and 3, there are amazing lessons that I've learned in the corporate world. And I do believe that farming, as it was done by our parents and our grandparents, good as it was, there's a need to take it to the next level. And the next level is a level that it is admirable and it is beautiful. Because for a lot of us, when you talk about farming to a younger generation, they just shut off, because they think this is something for old, dirty-looking people.
Yeah.
And so here you come, you now bring your education. You've been to school, whatever level of education you've taken. You don't even have to have done agriculture. Even if you're a computer scientist, there's something you can bring on board the farming sector, to the agricultural sector. Like right now, farming. The agricultural sector contributes 26% of the GDP of this country. That is directly. Then 27% indirectly.
Wow.
That is farming. Then 40% of employees in this country are employed in the agricultural sector. When you go to the rural areas, you're talking of over 70%. That is the current statistics for Kenya. So why would I know that and not do something about it? You get? So my world in the corporate environment helps me now to know what is my space and what value do I bring. The other thing I will add is this. When I do farm, there are chemicals you find a farmer spraying, and you're asking them, kwa nini unapiga hiyo dawa? Kuko na wadudu. You take the container, you read, there's something we call PHI on every chemical. PHI is the pre-harvest interval. So if I spray this crop and the PHI is 30, I should not give you that crop before 30 days are over. I'm giving you poison. Now that is a mistake a lot of farmers do. Some of them were taught by their grandparents. When you see baridi, wanaitanga baridi, in our place it's very cold when it is misty, the blight, this is what you spray. But the question is, these are skuma wikis that will be harvested 2-3 days from today. What are you saying? You're giving people cancer. So as I come into this space, I'm saying I'm bringing the little education that I have. I should be able to farm in a way that farmers in the village would say, ini ya kuuza, na hii ni ya watu wetu wa kukula. That is a wrong mindset. I should be able to serve you, my buyer, and my children in the house the same food. I should not segregate and say this is for selling and this, because I know these ones I've sprayed, I've pumped it with chemicals to look beautiful, the aesthetic value. But I know internally I've poisoned you. And those are some of the elements. So education, what we've learned in school, what we've learned in the corporate, has a lot of contribution in the agricultural sector. And training, and also being a mindful Christian. You know, that I'm not just about money. I'm just going to not serve you poison on your plate and my pocket is full. Yes.
Oh, that is so encouraging, inspiring. I remember this lady called Indra Noye. I really look up to her, former CEO of PepsiCo. And she talks about a time of her career when she reduced the sugar in the drink. And it caused a lot of fracas. But that's what I hear you talking about, you know, you just doing what is ethical. I love that. Elsie, what's your best moment so far in your career?
So teaching kids about gardening, because you see now the younger generation don't really like farming, but then we want to tell our kids to farm more. You want to show your kid that this is where your skuma is coming from, this is where your spinach is coming from. And not for the kid to think that, you know, our meal comes from the supermarket, you know, that kind of mindset. So our research shows that the more you, like when a kid sees a plant growing, they would be more interested in eating that vegetable compared to when you buy it for them and then, you know, from the supermarket or something. So at least when they grow that vegetable, they're going to eat it. And I really want us to install that culture in kids for them to live a healthy lifestyle and not just to think that pizzas and all that are good, but then they won't touch the vegetables. So when I see kids learning about gardening and, you know, eating healthy, I really feel good. And we also have a program where we give vegetables to children homes. I also feel good when you're able to get, like every child, you know, can get the vegetables irrespective of where they are. So educating them even in children homes, and even we've even set up kitchen gardens in children homes as CSR.
Wow,
so
nice.
So you're giving them, you know, like you're teaching them and you're also giving them a kitchen garden. So tomorrow you don't have to come with vegetables. They already have their vegetables. And it's something we also really want to do. Like when our children homes or are less privileged, you know, like our school in the slum, if they have a space, then we can do a kitchen garden for them.
That's nice. Mary, what's your best moment in your 10 years of farming?
Initially, the customers were asking me, here sali yako kweli ni ile ya ukweli. Unajua, they're so tired of having the ones which have been added sugar. And all manner of things have been done, you know, molasses, and even I learned at one time even bananas. I was like, really? Okay.
Bananas?
So yes, don't ask me how, but people were saying, ama ni mandizi umeongeza hapo, you know?
You're like,
yeah, exactly. But I think because it was a journey for me, you know, when I started off the shop, because that's what I walked into, an environment which even to date, people are always skeptical about the kind of honey that you have. So I had been there for around a year, and it was around 10 kilometers from where my current farm is. And of course, now I started building the base. But the best moment was one day when I was not in the shop, I got a call from my from a shop that was next to mine, and they just told me, hey, you need to show up because the bees have just swarmed on just above the roof of where the shop is. And they were like, all right, you know, all of us are just thinking, where Mama Asali ndio, you know, because that's what they call me, Ule wa Asali, Mama Asali, that's the name that I'm called. So that was a huge testament for me to just have the bees coming on board. And even at that time I had honey that I had actually harvested from the hives. So that was really powerful.
all right. Elsie,
Yeah.
what is one or two things that you've done that you feel has helped you to make a profit in your practice?
One, I think marketing, like really making use of the social media, you know, to market the business, because it was during COVID and everyone was at home. So we worked with a number of people, social media influencers, celebrities, and we really got followers back.
Yeah.
So I think farmers also need to understand the social media platform and how to market their own goods. So from that we got a number of clients, like a couple number of clients, especially that kids were home and people started farming because people also worried, you know, because of the economy. So at least grow your own food so you can harvest from your backyard instead of buying. So social media and also persistence. So I think the first few months we weren't really making profit. It was more of a hobby, as I said, as I started with my own kitchen garden. But then over time, like, you know, 1 year, 2 years down, you realize you're getting more avenues to expand your business. Like now we have the demo farm and people come for gardening classes. At first we never started with that. So persistence and just keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping
Yes.
on. That's powerful. Right, I guess, Lillian, you'll have the last word. Two things that you feel you've done that have helped you to make a profit over the course of your journey.
One, I'll say that investing in knowledge is critical in farming. Do not depend on even one person telling you, this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the conclusion. No. Go around, visit different farms, do your research, go to, you know, agricultural bodies, gather as much information as possible before you venture in farming. So with that, when they say knowledge is power, it is really that. Because there are mistakes you will not make. I always say experience is the best teacher. It just doesn't have to be your own experience. So I may have done something, I have failed at it, I made a blunder, but I learned from it. If you, my namesake, come to me, you will not have to repeat my mistake.
No.
So you will learn, but from my mistake, and my experience will be your teacher. So you'll start off from a very better footing.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, for me, farming, when we started, we did not have irrigation, and so we were depending on the rain, and so that had its own dynamic, because now when there is no water, you are stuck or you delay your planting. So over the period of the time I've spoken in farming, we've managed to irrigate the entire piece of land. So we do not have issues with water. Whether you're doing local or export farming, know your seasons very well. If you're able to even start small bits of irrigating the land, but even if you're not able to do the irrigation, know your seasons well, so that at least you are among the first people who are producing a crop when there's scarcity in the area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, knowledge is power, and that's all the time we had tonight. Thank you so much for your company. Let me know your thoughts on 0786 316 316. That's my WhatsApp line, or you can send it to 20316. That's my SMS line. And in case you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comment down below, subscribe, share, and like this video. Thank you so much for your company. That's all from us. Good night.